So the great Carroll Shelby is going to build a car to beat Ferrari with a Ford.
Correct.
The Oscar-winning film Ford vs. Ferrari made history by being the first movie about auto racing to ever be nominated for the Academy's big prize of Best Film.
And how long did you tell them you needed? 200 or 300 years?
90 days.
At the Shelby American Heritage Center, how was this flick received, and what would have Carroll said?
Carroll would have liked it. He's, you know, they added some things in and they changed some things around. It's a movie, you know what I mean? But I think the gist of the story is there. They let you see the attitude and the drive and the passion that Carroll had.
I think it did what we had hoped it would do, and that's really introduce the story and the passion of, you know, individuals, but also as how the team worked together to overcome the rivalry.
It actually showed that you can get a bunch of guys together that have a passion that can actually take that passion and beat everybody else. But I think he'd have been very excited about it.
So this is where they produce the magic for Shelby. Now, how Hollywood produces the magic for the big screen to tell the story of Ford versus Ferrari, Mike Neighbors has all the details.
Carroll Shelby.
Maybe.
Lee Iacocca, Ford Motor. Suppose Henry Ford II wanted to build the greatest race car the world's ever seen to win the 24 hours of Le Mans. What's it take?
Well, it takes something money can't buy.
Money can buy speed.
Well, it ain't about speed.
On the surface, it's a movie about racing, but when you really step behind the wheel, Ford versus Ferrari is so much more. It's about two kindred spirits, car designer Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon, and maverick driver Ken Miles, portrayed by Christian Bale. Their professional work is the centerpiece of this film, but their friendship is the heart and soul of this movie.
What attracted you to this role? It's just a bloody great story, incredible story. I knew about Shelby, didn't know about Shelby and Miles in '66. Didn't know about the wonderful wheeling and dealing of Ferrari, where he was kind of conning Ford just to raise the price and then be bought by Fiat.
Ferrari has a message for you, sir. What did he say? He said you're not Henry Ford. You're Henry Ford II. I don't care what it costs. Go ahead, Carroll. Go to war.
Thank you, sir.
You don't have to be a racing fan to appreciate Ford versus Ferrari, but this true story is iconic. The table is set in the early 1960s when Ferrari rejected Ford's proposed buyout. As a result, and incensed Henry Ford II became bound and determined to build a race car which would supplant Ferrari in the world's oldest and most prestigious endurance race, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The problem, an American vehicle had never won the race before.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Now.
I think Carroll Shelby, Ken Miles, Henry Ford, Enzo Ferrari, all these characters, Lee Iacocca, some became legends, but more importantly, at this time, not unlike The Right Stuff or the efforts to go to the moon, you had to physically build it, put a man in it, and then see if it killed him. The way to know if it worked was just to survive it.
I mean, I'm not a car person per se. I mean, I appreciate them, but I just love, there's so much about this movie that you know, the friendship and the underdog story, and it's just very relatable.
Ford versus Ferrari has been well known among racing diehards for years, but now it will be known on a much larger scale. And for those who were a part of it, they feel fortunate to give this story the attention it deserves.
It had been around for a little while. I first read the script back in 2011, and no one had ever wanted to finance it, and then finally to go, whoa, yeah, that gem can finally get made.
Back in Las Vegas, where the men and women of Shelby American are continuing the passion for performance, the blockbuster movie has generated a renewed interest in the legacy of Carroll Shelby and the vehicles his team still produces today.
The neat thing about it is it brings the younger crowd back to us again.
A lot of people knew a little bit about Shelby, but they didn't realize the whole backstory behind it. Now they do. So they know what's in our rearview mirror now, but they also know that if that's the company that did that then, what are they doing next? And now you piqued our interest, what's going on at Shelby today. So you can come and visit, Look right out that window and you can see cars and trucks being built.
You ready?
I was born ready, Mr. Shelby. Hit it.
I'm Mike Neighbors for Driven.